Pete Buttigieg is not the best Indiana has to offer. It's not that I want it to be that way. It's that he has decided it's that way. His own words, his own statements, his own very questionable campaigning at this stage of the game has brought this into play. Tony Katz, 93 WIBC. Riding high, doing great in the polls. But it started with this comment, a comment he's made before. A comment you would think he would realize, you know what, maybe isn't the comment to put out there, isn't actually going to help me with wide swaths, certainly does not make me look like a moderate, makes me seem more like the progressive that, well, at least Tony Katz always knew that he was. It didn't take much. All it took was a bit of honesty and actually listening to his words here.
I believe are going to come from our communities like the one where I grew up. Which is an industrial Midwestern city that is exactly the kind of place that our current president targeted with a message saying that we could find greatness by just stopping the clock and turning it back and making America great again. When that past that he is promising to return us to was never as great as advertised, especially for marginalized Americans, and there's no going back anyway.
It's a fundamental misunderstanding of what it is Donald Trump did, but you don't win anything by saying America was never as great as advertised. What a wholly and incredibly ignorant thing to say. Truly, if he was standing right here, I would say, Mayor Buttigieg, you know that's a very foolhardy and ignorant thing to say, correct? A wholly and ignorant thing to say. America was never as great as advertised. Yes, is as great as advertised. If you want to argue could be better, I'm with you when we talk about slavery or any other issue. But the idea that it was never as great as advertised is an unbelievably ugly thing to say, Mr. Mayor. Certainly is not representative of what the country thinks, or certainly what a real look at history, not a Howard Zinn look at history, would give you. But the key to Donald Trump's success in those Midwestern cities was that he looked at the people there and said, I see you. The Democratic Party called you racist and bigots and, by the way, pay more taxes. And what Donald Trump said is, I see you. I'm aware you exist and that you matter. And they said, hey, someone sees me. Vote. The guy's a Rhodes Scholar. He doesn't know that. I didn't graduate Arizona State. I'm 1 for Tony, none for Pete. Here's the second one. This one is really embarrassing.
The devout Episcopalian often talks about his faith on the campaign trail, despite criticism. You've also spent a fair amount of time talking about your faith.
Yes.
Why?
Well, it's important to me. And I think it's also important that we stop seeing religion used as a kind of cudgel, as if God belonged to a political party. And if he did, I can't imagine it would be the one that sent the current president into the White House.
He's on the Today Show. It's Craig Melvin asking the questions. We shouldn't use religion as a cudgel. But if you know, between political parties, like he belongs to one political party. But if he did, I couldn't believe that he'd be a Republican. What kind of trash is this from Pete Buttigieg? I'll gladly explain. He is no different than Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders or any of the rest. He's not a moderate. Stop saying that he is. Stop thinking that he is. It's not because I say it. It's not because, that Tony Katz says it. It's because I listen. Listen to his words. We shouldn't use religion as a cudgel. By the way, the Republicans are a godless lot. What? How do you even think you can make that conversation, have those two sentences run together, and not be looked at like you're a bit out of your mind? This is not the best Indiana has to offer. This is nothing more. And Pete Buttigieg, based on his own commentaries, not that I want it to be this way, he is this way. He is nothing more than Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders with just the cool mop haircut and that millennial style. The playbook is the same old, same old. I'm Tony Katz.
The Chick.